Hi Echo, thanks for getting this in and well done for completing the whole workbook. Definitely agree with that. 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 Yeah. Yeah, definitely. These ones that go a bit beyond the DSM-5, so that's research outside, you might want to think more about putting into an appendix rather than the main component of the assignment. So the actually probably from 5 onwards, because that's more around, or certainly 5, 6, 7, and 8 are more, is more about additional research. That's a really interesting one. But again, that's around the assessment itself rather than the DSM-5, as is that actually. And that's as an added extra. I think that's a very good idea. Yeah, I think that actually would probably increase the prevalence of individuals going forward for an identification as well. That's good. So I think actually this is becoming clearer. It's certainly becoming clearer to me reading your work, but what's going to go in and what's not. So anything that's very specific to the DSM-5, because that was your original driver, makes perfect sense. And then anything else that's related but not specific, like the research, could probably end up going into an appendix. So that will certainly help with your identifying what goes in and what goes into an appendix. Yeah, so actually changing the language and making it more specific will be useful, and as I say, increase the likelihood of individuals being willing to go forward for an identification. I do think that's a really interesting one. That would be a PhD, I think, in its own right. So that's more reads to me more. Okay, it might make it easier to identify. Okay, yeah. So it might be that you amalgamate some of these in terms of overarching increase in, if you like, correct in inverted commas, identification of individuals. So again, I think this goes under the umbrella of additional research, which is fine, but again, probably best off in an appendix. Yeah, I agree with that. Again, that's another PhD, isn't it? The kind of links between all of those sorts of things. And again, that's almost a whole driver in itself, isn't it? But it's definitely worth identifying. And it's amazing that you've got an action plan. That's so cool. I don't need to go through that. That was well, I will go through it actually, just out of interest. Yes, I wish it was as easy as that. But I mean, it should be. Absolutely. And again, that should be done straight away. There doesn't need to be, I mean, like, people do it. Speech and language therapists go to people's houses all the time. Health visitors do. Why shouldn't other clinicians? So a lot of these, it's down to the same sorts of individuals. So you're going to have a bit of a cyclical thing. The very people that need to make the changes are the people that need to be persuaded in the first place. And unfortunately, they're the ones who wrote the DSM-5. So it's a bit of a paradox, really. Yeah, so lots of the resources, it's a frustrating one. I mean, when you keep putting the by whom and these research scientists, neurologists, psychologists, and psychiatrists, I don't know why they need to be research scientists. I think it should be autistic-led research, to be honest. Autistic academics. That would be my preference anyway. Then we need to be breeding more and more and more autistic academics to be doing exactly this sort of research. I would suggest anyway. I mean, there should be more autistic academics engaging with DSM itself. And that's got to be an overarching criteria of success and potential impact throughout. So we've got the mini kind of away day or morning or whatever on Tuesday or hour or whatever it is. After that, we can have a conversation, email conversation, or online conversation about how you're going to write up if need be. In the meantime, brilliant. Well done for getting all 6 tasks or the whole workbook done. Really good. Well done.